All right, so we're going to dive into how long does it take to get projects signed with something like ads? That's one of the most common questions we get, and the reason it comes up is because most people don't know what comes from ads because he's never done it before. And so I just want to show you like a real actual case study perspective of how quickly and how long, best and worst case, in terms of how long it's going to take you to get your first project signed using something like ads. So just to dive into an example, we can dive into a firm that they're a commercial firm, and if we look at the last 28 days in the ads manager, this is where we host all of our ads. Again, this is not relevant to you, but what it is relevant is the numbers, right? So just super simple. We spent 24.90 in the course of February. As I'm recording this, it is now March 25th. Okay, so when we look at the 24.90 we spent in February, we spent that over the course of 28 days. So it's about little bit less than $100 a day. Okay. Now we generated 102 leads. That puts us at about a $24 cost per lead. And what we found is that as we were vetting and nurturing these leads, because none of our architects do this, we do this. And so we can found that there were some issues with quality and stuff like that. Typically, lead costs are a little bit under $20 is typically super trash. So biggest point is that we're getting a lot of leads, but not a lot of them were super quality. So we fixed that. Once we fixed that, we ended the 28 days with 12 qualified appointments. 12. Now, 12 qualified appointments means they meet the four criterias, which is they have a scope, they have the resources to actually realize on that scope or capitalize on it, actually do the work. The third thing is going to be they have an actual timeline, meaning they're ready to go now. And the fourth piece is that they are the main decision maker. Simple as that. Okay. So what happens is that once we did those four boxes are checked, and we truly feel that this person's actually qualified and ready to move forward because they have the intent, they have a serious project, etc. We actually send this person straight to the architect for them to hop on a Zoom call with and actually go through their sales process. Okay, so in the same time span of 28 days, we had 102 leads come through. And just to walk you through what this looks like, if you look at the scheduling channel, you can just see all of these leads are coming through every single day. March 21st, March 20th, March 19th. If I were to scroll up back into February, you can see all of these leads just start to come through every single day. It's because our goal is to get you in front of 1,000 people per day. That's why we spend the money. And that's why ads work so well, is because we are spending money to get people, our eyeballs out there. Just I put $1 in, I get 1,000 eyeballs out. That's attention. We're getting attention. The only problem is most firms don't know how to convert attention, which is why we exist, which is what we help with. And so we're getting all this attention, Abhinav, Eric, Bob, Sam, all of these different people. But what happens is that all these leads are great, but they aren't closed deals. And so back to the question about, well, what actually happens when a deal needs to be closed? This is when I get a DM from Aparna, which is the firm that I'm working with. And in that same 28 days, we generated a particular lead. His name is Patrick. And in that, it was actually one of the qualified appointments, and he's actually the one that closed for $75,000 in fees. As you can see here, she said, "Hey, wanted to pass on the news that we'll be working with Patrick for his development." I said, "How much?" She said, 75,000. So super great feedback on that. But the biggest point is that we had $75,000 that was closed in 28 days. That's how quick you can make something happen. That is how quick you can turn $2,409 into $75,000 in fees. Super straightforward. Now, what happens is that this has to happen with a great system and a great sales process, which means that, to be super frank, she wasn't falling in love with Patrick. That's her particular scenario, and we actually have the entire case study on our that's going to be up on our website. But the whole point is so you can actually watch it from her perspective. But she noticed that things were getting cold. She would send Patrick an email, and Patrick just didn't respond in time, and she felt like maybe this guy wasn't as qualified. I said, "Hey, why are we not following up with these people? Like, they have their own lives, they have everything going on with them. As much as we like to follow with architects, they'll be delayed for days or whatever, whatnot. Why is that? Well, we're probably just caught up in their day, or they're not putting time towards the things that they know are important." Again, the whole point is that I asked her to follow up. She followed up on that lead. He immediately responded, and she actually closed the deal. If she got cold and did not follow up and did not follow a proven sales process, she's going to turn out like another account that we have, which is WDA. They're a commercial firm out in Texas. And we were working with them for about 84 days. I think it was a little bit longer than that, actually. So it's about 3-ish months almost. Yeah, it's about 3 months, 6 days less. And we spent about $4,619 over the course of the 3 months. So it's about $1,500 a month. We got about 59 actual leads. And as you can see here, you can pretty much go through like all what that looked like. But we had a really good pickup rate. These leads were very responsive. We had 21 appointments and 12 of them showed. So we had a 50% show rate, which is a huge issue and it was a very self-explanatory issue. People at this time, people were booking to the architect's calendar, and that would then result to a low show up rate because they wouldn't show up to that appointment. And so we immediately fixed that by having our team take those appointments. But once we felt like they were qualified, we had 12 of them that showed, and we had a $219 cost per booking, a $384 cost per qualified booking, and a 20% schedule rate, which is typically average. Show up rate was about 57%, as I told you, and they sent out about 8 proposals. 8 proposals totaling over like $800,000. I know one was like a massive $300 fee for apartment buildings and some townhome communities, something like that. And so it was like 330,000. Like the guy was sending great proposals out, and nobody's going to send a proposal to somebody they don't feel actually has a decent project, is ready to be even considering a proposal. But their time to proposal was so long. It took them weeks just to get out a valid proposal. Weeks. And so the client, they need an architect. And so the moment you aren't able to produce or deliver a proposal, they will go find someone else. So they've lost deals just having the time to proposal being so long. Another big thing was that on these proposals, like there was no follow-up involved because they're so caught up in their architectural day-to-day that they did not follow up. Therefore, they lost fees. And so again, this might just be a matter of fact of, well, if your day-to-day is so jam-packed, it's like, what's so important? Do you want to make more money and grow in your fees, or do you have a delegations issue where you're handling everything at once, causing you to lose out on potential fees and actual opportunity? And so they were setting us proposals up, but hasn't closed anything. They would not pull any projects through. And all of the follow-ups they ended up doing was too late. All of these prospects are already looking at other options because they just took so long. And so it goes to show you can even get qualified appointments. You can send all the proposals you want. But this is the worst case scenario where you close nothing because your sales skills don't amount to what your prospects need from you. Luckily, unfortunately for these people, we actually help them with that. But in terms of their finances and where the business was, it's like their overhead was so much where they couldn't facilitate any more spend. So with that all to say, it's a clear sales issue, but this is worst case scenario. Best case scenario is that you actually do follow and take our feedback as to how to properly vet and nurture these leads. And on top of that, we're actually optimizing for the quality of appointments that we must. And so from that point, you can close fees as simple as 18 days. A lead can come in on the 24th of February, and then on the 18th of March, you'll be actually able to pull that project through for $75,000 as Aparna did. So with all that to say, I just wanted to pull up a case study and show you how long does it take to get projects signed. It could be as short as a week to as long as months. It just depends on the kind of quality and obviously your sales skills that are involved as well. Now, we'll help on the quality side and we'll also help on the sales side, but you're the one that has to execute. You're the one that has to level up if the data shows that there is a clear sales issue. So hope that answers the question about how long it takes to get signed up with ads. And I'm hoping to see you actually come partner with us that we can help you get you launched and get you closing $75,000 fees in the course of 18 days as well. Ciao.